the Talk Station is proud to present The War Files. The War Files, a selection of interviews honoring our warriors of the greatest generation, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Your name?
Roy Stevens.
Where are you from, Roy?
I'm from Morehead City today. Was originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's where I graduated from school, where I was drafted in the Army. Inducted on April 14th, 1943.
How old were you at the time?
18.
What was the thought about being drafted?
I anticipated it. I was working for the chairman of one of the draft boards in Fayetteville, and I was under the other one. And he came in one afternoon about 5 o'clock back from his duties with the draft board and told me that my orders were mailed that afternoon. So we anticipated it. I picked it up out of the post office that night about 9 o'clock.
Now, you were in an Army base, Fayetteville, Fort Bragg. How active was Fort Bragg at that point? The war was a year into its life. What was it like at Fort Bragg?
Well, they were moving in and out all the time. And, of course, I had a couple of weeks from the time I received it until I reported to duty, and I went through a physical examination and accepted. I was inducted at Fort Bragg. I stayed there about 2 days after being inducted, and I was put on a train and sent to Miami Beach, Florida. We were housed in the Normandy Hotel at 4th and Ocean in Miami Beach. We were not allowed to leave the beach and go into Miami.
Now, had you been through basic training at this point? This is before basic training?
This was basic training on the streets of Miami Beach.
What were you learning? I don't want to know. On the streets of Miami Beach. That was the limit of your basic training? Were you marching on the streets?
We were marching on the street in open parks and this kind of thing. I was stationed on the third floor. We lived in a hotel with 4 people in each room, 2 in bunks and 2 in single beds.
Now, were you also receiving weapons training? What was involved in your basic training there in Miami Beach?
Marching. We did go to the rifle range. It was mostly learning to march.
All right. How long were you there for your basic training? Approximately.
About 2 months.
All right. From there, where did you end? Where did you end up going?
I left there on a train, not knowing where we were going, and we went to the racetrack in California.
Are we talking Hialeah?
Santa Anita.
Santa Anita. All right. What time of year is this?
This is in the June to August.
August of 43.
Yes.
43. All right. So you're in Santa Anita. You're at the racetrack. What are you doing there? What did you do there?
We were training again, and we went to ammunition school.
And when you say ammunition, that was handling and
knowing about all the different ammunition that would be used, including the bomb. They had a fake 4,000 pounder there. But from there, I came home for 5 days delay en route and went to Fort Jackson in Missouri. There we got our overseas training for about 2 months.
This is now the end of 43. So you're at Fort Jackson. When you say overseas training, what are you learning in overseas training? And did you at that point have an indication whether you were going Europe or Pacific?
We didn't have an indication of where we were going, just that we were going.
What does overseas training involve? Do you recall?
Mostly how to protect yourself. You were told how to get into a foxhole. You were trained again to give you the experience. We went to the rifle range while we were there. One day they said, get on the train.
All this time you have no idea where you're headed.
No, nobody would tell you.
My goodness. All right.
So you get on the train and you don't know where you're going, but you can look out the window when you get to a town, and that could tell you where you were going.
What direction? All right. Did you gain any new friends while you were there? Were you traveling with the same people throughout this 5 or 6 month period?
Some of them. We lost people at every station. They went somewhere else. Some of them I never knew where they were going. We were told to get on the train, and we rode the train. We'd watch the towns to see where we were going to give us an idea. It was one time we thought we were going to Chicago. That was the rumor on the train.
How long a train trip are we talking about? How many days?
4 to 5 days.
Wow. And what's it like as you're getting on this train? You've been through all this training. You've never known exactly where you were headed. Obviously, you're hearing stories about the war environment, both in Europe and Pacific. Was there any feeling, for example, that you'd rather be in Europe or rather be in the Pacific?
I don't know that we had a choice or even considered a choice. In the Army, you went where they said.
Ate when they told you to eat and sleep. All right. So you're beginning to hear all these rumors. When did things begin to solidify for you as to where your next duty station was going to be?
When we arrived.
And where did you arrive?
We got aboard the ship at San Francisco. By going to San Francisco, we knew we were going somewhere in the Pacific, but we had no idea of where. We landed on Australia and went into a transit camp. We stayed there about 2 weeks, and they said, get on the boat. We arrived in Brisbane, Australia on December the 8th, and we left there on December the 22nd and went to Port Moresby, New Guinea.
New Guinea had been pretty much pacified at that point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but Port Moresby is
New Guinea.
It's jungle area there, right?
Well, there's a lot of natives there, and the company I joined, and that was the first company that I had joined, was at Port Moresby. It was the 1910 Ordnance Ammunition Company Aviation. So we were handling only aircraft ammunition, which included their ammunition for their guns and the bombs that they would use.
All right. Now, when you got there, how quickly did they put you into activity? Did you do any more training, or did they put you straight to work?
It was strictly into work, Glenn.
What was it like in that environment? What was the reception, for example, when you arrived?
Well, they were glad to see us. And there were 7 or 8 of us, and I don't remember exactly, but there was about that many that came up and joined that organization, the 1910. We knew what to do. We'd had some training about loading ammunition and offloading it, this kind of thing. We did not actually load the ammunition into the airplane. The crew for the airplane loaded their ammunition.
All right. Now, you've been through all this training. You're now in the process of working with ammunition. What kind of airplanes are you working with, and are these the same planes that you and the same ammunition that you had been training for?
Yes, it was the same. Actually, our training was generally.
Okay.
We were equipped and trained to do any kind of loading of the ammunition. The ammunition that we had, the most of it did not have the fuses in them. They pick up the fuses over in one place, pick up the bombs in another place, right, and the 50 caliber
machine gun.
All
right, what airplanes were you primarily servicing?
The whole works.
Oh, really? All right, where did you sleep? Were you sleeping in barracks or tents?
Tents with mosquito netting.
Were there a lot of mosquitoes?
Well, you didn't sleep if you didn't have a net.
All right, this is, now we're into 1944. Where are you still at Port Moresby?
No, I moved up to Nadzab in March.
And where is Nazab?
Nadzab's north of Port Moresby in New Guinea. And you lived with that until you were told to move again.
What was the food like?
We had good food, but we didn't prefer that food always.
Did you eat any of the native food?
No.
Intentionally, or just they told you?
Well, they fed us in a mess hall, which
Right.
was a big tent
Okay.
in most of the places.
What were the hours of work? Were you working
All night if you're necessary.
24 hours? Okay.
Or some of the crew. Now, I landed up in a motor pool.
Okay.
And so it was our job to maintain the equipment and have it ready when the troops needed it, of going to and from the revetments of ammunition. In other words, you had 500-pound bombs in one,
Right.
1,000 pounds in another. You had bomb fuses in another location.
What rank are you at this point?
At this point, I'm a PFC.
Still a PFC. Okay. You've been in the Army now for almost a year.
Yeah.
And you've been through training, and now you're in theater. Do you recall what you were talking about?
We talk about home, correspondence from home. Our mail going out was audited. The mail coming in was not. And when you moved, you lost your mail for a month or more before it got transferred up
Right.
to you. We couldn't write about what we were doing or where we were at or give any indication of where we were at. I had a brother that was in the Seabees, and he was down north of the Russell Islands. And so after being over there for a good long time, I talked the CO into giving me 2-3 day passes so I could go visit it.
Now, how far away was the Russell Islands? I assume you had to get there by plane.
Yes, I had to hitch a ride down and hitch a ride back. And I was lucky that I got down there in 2 days and flying. I got into Guadalcanal and they said, well, you'll ride the mailbox tomorrow. And a nice young lieutenant said, well, I'm going up there for supper. If you want to ride, come on. So I hitched a ride and went up and visited with him for 4 days and got on that airport and started back. I got up to Manus, and there wasn't an American plane coming across to the New Guinea. So finally, I got an Australian plane, and I had to get clearance from the Australian government, didn't get clearance from the American government, and I got there, they were ready to take off. And they brought me back to Finch Haven, which was in the territory, and they tried to put me up and hold me till the next day, and I knew if they got a hold of me, I couldn't go the next day. I'd be up there 2 or 3 weeks.
Why?
So many travelers that they'd put you in a camp and you were assigned a number and this.
Right.
So that night when I got back to Finch Haven and was trying to catch one back where
Where in New Guinea?
Let's see, I'm up at Biak, New Guinea then, which is on the northern tip.
All right, now, were you under MacArthur's command at this point?
Yes, we were.
Did you ever see General MacArthur?
Many times. He was traveling in the same area that we were. He originally had a B-17 was his plane, and he later transferred to a C-54, and you'd see his plane. Your best known sight of him was while we were in the Philippines, and he comes down the road with two MPs in front of him and two MPs in back of him. They went down the center of the road, and the rest of us
Off to the side.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to the Philippines in a moment. So you're now in New Guinea. Then where do you travel next?
We went to Biak, I believe it was, after that. It was a little island up there, and we built a bomb dump. We received the ammunition, and
What time of year is this? What year is this?
August to March, 1945.
45. Okay, 1945.
We went from there to Clark Field in the
Philippines. And at that point, we had pacified and recaptured the Philippines.
Yeah.
All right.
We went up there, laid out a bomb dump, built a bomb dump.
Rugged country again. Did you build that from the raw land?
Oh yes, we built a revetment for each type of ammunition. Consists of open property. If there's trees there, we took them down, and you would build a revetment which is similar in size as your building here.
About 20,000 square feet.
Yeah, something in that order. And we would put 100-pounders in one place, 500-pounders in another place, 50 caliber ammunition in another place. There had to be a distance between these revetments, so if one caught fire, we wouldn't lose it all.
Right. So you're in the Philippines, and you're now still handling ammunition. We're in 1945. The war is beginning to turn definitely in favor of the Allies. What's the conversation among the men in your division?
Basically, all of us wanted to get it over with and come home.
Now you've
Because once you go over, you didn't come back until it was over.
for the duration.
For the duration.
Now you arrived in Australia in 1944. So you've been there now almost a year at this point.
Yep.
Are you missing home? I assume so.
Oh, yes, you miss home. It doesn't take you long because you're with a bunch of strangers, pretty much.
Now you do build a close friendship, do you know?
Many of them, we formed a close relationship. We looked after each other. I had a fellow from Detroit that he and I were bunking together. We were both in the motor pool. He was older than I. He sort of was the boss. And when he wasn't there, I was the boss.
All right. Now, at this point, you're in the Philippines. When did you arrive in the Clark Air Force Base?
Clark Air Force on March 14th. On March 14th. And I left there on June 26th.
Where were you headed on June?
We went to Manila in the Philippines.
What were you doing there? A similar.
Same thing.
You're in Manila at this point, and obviously the war is beginning to turn around significantly. Was there any sense of anticipation that the war might be over
Not
soon?
at that time. We had a radio broadcast that if you had a radio, you could hear it, called Tokyo Rose. And she, of course, was preaching the Japanese theory that they were winning the war. And, of course, many times we knew she was preaching something that we knew better. We get a laugh out of her.
That gave you some humor. All right. From Manila, then where?
We went to Naha, New Guinea, and we stayed there for a short time. I got in Naha on July the 8th. We departed there on July the 11th.
You were only there briefly, all right. And then where did you head?
We landed in Okinawa on the southern end of the island, and we stayed there about a month, and we moved by truck convoy to northern Okinawa, and we were there until the war was over.
Okinawa had been a pretty brutal
Yes.
battle. What was it like when you arrived?
Well, it was about like any of the other places. We had to build a camp. We had to build a bomb dump. We had to load it in and load it out.
But what about the ground? I mean, the bombing and the structures in and around, had they been pretty much cleaned up, or?
Yes, they had been. You have some photographs here of some of the properties on Okinawa that had been bombed out.
Mm-hmm. So it was it was still pretty obvious that had been a brutal
Yes.
battle.
Yes.
All right. Now, you've got some interesting experiences there in Okinawa. You related to the surrender. Let's talk about this.
Okay, our last camp on Okinawa was on the northern end of the island.
Mm-hmm.
And the camp we built, which was in a schoolyard initially, we could see the airstrip on the northern end of Okinawa. The surrender came through, and several days later, the Japanese arrived. They had negotiated with General MacArthur. They made arrangements for the Japanese personnel to fly down to northern Okinawa, get off of their plane, and get on a plane that was sent up from the Philippines by General MacArthur. And in our camp, we could see the airport. We could not go that day. We knew they were coming, but we could see them from our camp.
Now, is this before the signing of the surrender? Or?
It was the negotiations for the surrender.
Okay.
So their crew came down. They got off their airplane. It was special painted with a cross on it. It landed. They took their personnel off, put them on MacArthur's C-54, and they went down to the Philippines to meet with General MacArthur and his staff. They were gone 3 days. Then they came back, picked up their airplane, and they went back to Japan. And of course, all of the papers had been agreed to, and then the actual signing was aboard ship in Tokyo Inlet.
And when was that?
That was about a week later. I've got it here in the book, but I can't put my hands on it right now. But I've got a history of our operations. I've got maps that showed where I'd traveled within the states and throughout the Pacific. Fortunately, I kept enough information that I could do this after the war was over.
All right, now, as a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that in a moment. All right, so you were there and actually saw the preparations for the surrender.
I saw the Japanese personnel got off of their plane, got on General MacArthur's plane.
And this was in this was July, was it not?
I think it was.
I want to say it was July 16, but I have to go back and check.
Yeah, well, I got to learn back here, but I've got the dates and all. I saw the personnel. Our camp was close enough that we could see the airport.
All right.
We saw it when it landed. We saw it sit there for 3 days in the guard, and when they took off.
Recognizing that you were seeing all this, again, what was the conversation? What was the feeling among you and your and other soldiers associated with your?
Well, we anticipated that we would get home shortly after the war was over with. Mm-hmm. We knew we had to go through these details. Well, the war was over in July, I believe it is, and I didn't get home until January.
What was the?
I had sufficient points to come home the day the war was over.
Now you had. Let's go back to you got to New Guinea, or Australia. When?
Let's see, San Francisco. I was in Brisbane, Australia, on December the 8th, 1943.
December 8th, 1943.
Yeah.
Here we are, July 1945. Right? 1945.
Yeah.
So you've been there for
2 years.
Yes. Now, well, 2 years when you get home. What did you have to do to get points? What was the issue with points?
Well, the points were calculated by the time and where you were overseas. In the United States, you got 1 point. If you were a non-combat zone, you got 2 points a month. If you were in combat area, you got 3 points. I had 62 points the day the war was over.
How many points did you need to get home?
60 points.
Okay.
But we had to get rid of the equipment. We had to...
All right. I want to get rid of back to that moment, but I want to go back to the issue that you saw that the negotiations were underway.
Yeah.
And my question is, what was the feeling? Was there some? Were you celebrating as well?
Yes, we had quite a celebration, and I have a photograph here of the night the word came through that the Japanese wanted to surrender.
So you knew that before the surrender, you knew they wanted to surrender.
Yes, and it was sometime between that and the actual papers were signed in Tokyo, but we had to clean up before we could get back. We had to work our way down because there were some other people over there had more points than I did.
Right. Now, what was involved in the cleanup? And you say cleanup.
Well, we had to move all of the ammunition out.
Did you put it back aboard ships for?
Yes.
Okay.
We got rid of it. Some of it we dumped.
Okay.
You know.
What kind of ships were providing you service? Were these merchant ships or were these
merchant ships? We moved on merchant ships when we moved by from one place to another. You know.
All right. Now, at this point, what's your rank?
T4. T4 is the same thing as a buck sergeant.
Okay. And you're now in command of men and materiel.
Well, I was in the motor pool, and there was 2 of us that handled that. The other guy was from Detroit. He and I had a fine relationship. He's even visited me since I got back to the United States, him and his wife. It was a girlfriend when we were there. And they went to Florida one time and stopped off with me. And we had a joyful time for about a half a day.
You're listening to the War Files on the Talk Station. We'll return to this War Files interview with Roy Stevens in just a moment. This is the War Files on the Talk Station. We'll now continue our War Files interview with Roy Stevens.
We're going to get back to the folks that you got to know. You're now in the process of cleaning up. You know the war's over. Are you getting concerned about when you're going to get your orders home?
Oh yes, we wanted to go get aboard ship that day, but there was some there that had more points than I did, so they went before I did. They moved us into a transit camp once we finished up disposing of our equipment, and I was there about 30 days before the ship came along, and there was about 1,500 on that ship coming back.
What was it like coming back on board ship? First off, what kind of a ship were you sailing back home aboard?
It was a freighter.
What was
They had taken one of the or 2 of the holes and put up bunks in there, and took us 30 days to get back, I believe.
What was it like aboard ship?
Joy.
Were the quarters tight?
The quarters were tight, and you had a card, about like a postcard, and there was green ones and there was yellow ones and whatnot. At mealtime, they would announce that the green could go eat. So you could go down, eat, and come back.
All right, what was the weather like as you were steaming back?
We had good weather coming back. We came back into San Francisco.
Okay, when did you return home?
Oh, I got back to Fort Bragg on January the 12th.
1946. 1946.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people don't realize the concept of duration. You were there for the duration.
I was there for the duration.
What was it like coming back to the States?
We were all happy then because we were coming back.
How about the reception from the civilian community when
They were tickled to see us home.
Were you?
We were moved to Camp Stoneman, which is about 40 miles inland.
Okay.
And we went there, stayed at Camp Stoneman for 2 days, and they put us on a train coming to the East Coast.
What was it like again when you came in contact with civilians? Were they?
They welcomed us, yes.
Okay.
It was a long 5 days coming across the United States.
What did you bring back with you from Okinawa, from the Pacific?
Regular summer clothing.
Did you bring back any souvenirs?
The information I have in this book.
All right, we're going to talk about this.
Because we lived out of a barracks bag. If you can imagine, we had 2 barracks bags.
And what was in a barracks bag?
Well, our clothes, our underwear, our shoes, everything was in that barracks bag.
If you ran out, if your clothing was torn, if it was damaged in any way, what did you do for replacement?
We took the old torn uniforms or whatnot and went to the supply sergeant. He had some clothing.
Okay.
And so we'd get new clothing.
All right, so you're coming home in your tropical uniforms in January. Mm-hmm. What's the weather like when you get to your house? Do you get to Fort Bragg?
We weren't paying any attention to the weather. We were just glad to get home.
All right. You get into Fort Bragg. Where do you go straight to the house, or do you have to stay?
No, you were not allowed to leave the base until you were discharged.
All right.
And I got in there on Sunday night, and I was discharged on Friday.
So,
I'll tell you the real story.
Okay, the real story.
The real story is I went over the hill that night, and my family was about 9 miles from where I was at. I knew where I was at. After midnight, they turned us loose and put us to bed. I went AWOL.
Just for the night?
For that night, knocked on my daddy's door.
No. Did you make it back to the base?
The next morning, I got up and went back and checked the board. I wasn't scheduled to be discharged that day, so I turned around and went back home. Yeah.
Did they at any time were you standing or having any kind of drill or
No.
anything? You were just there.
I was there. I was at Fort Bragg. My parents lived on the side of Fayetteville towards the base. Mm-hmm. So I went home that night.
What was it like in Fort Bragg and Fayetteville with the arrival of the soldiers, the returning soldiers? Well, again, was there a lot of celebration?
Oh, there was celebration. In fact, a friend of mine was in the same outfit I was in, and he was from Greensboro, just west of Greensboro, a little town. So when I went back out there on Monday morning, he called his wife, and Monday afternoon, we went back to Fayetteville, and his wife met him. I stayed there a week, and I stayed in Fayetteville more than that time.
All right, now you were discharged. What did the discharge consist of? I mean, what did you have to? What did they give you? What were the arrangements?
It was a discharge, which is in here.
Mm-hmm. Did they give you any money? Did they give you?
No, I don't remember getting any money this time.
So you were discharged when? Your date of discharge?
Date of discharge was January 46, 8th of December of 46. No, I stayed in Fayetteville all week. I'd go out there every morning, check the board, go back to town.
What did you do after discharge?
Went back to work.
Which was where?
I was with Rankin Hardware in Fayetteville.
Now, was your job available when you returned?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had kept that job open for you?
Well, somebody else had done the job, but it was open for me when I come back, went to work.
Were they proud to have you back?
Oh, yeah.
Now, Fayetteville is an army town. Did it get to the point where everything was standard? It became ordinary to see returning soldiers, or was it, again, because of the length of the war and the number that returning, was it still
so many
special?
Of them in the outfit I was in were for other points in North Carolina.
Right.
So when they got discharged, they were heading home.
They didn't stay around.
They didn't stay around.
All right, let's talk about this book. You've created a very detailed book of your experience. What got you to do that?
Well, before I left the company, we had a new CO, and he wanted a story of what had happened, and he wrote it out and handed it to me, and I typed it. And it's about 6 typewritten pages.
Why did he hand it to you? What was it?
Well, he figured I could use a typewriter. And so he handed it to me, and I typed those 6 pages and put in an extra tissue copy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after I sent that to Mother after the war was over, and when I got home, she had it. And I retyped it and put it in this book of things that we had done. And I still have it.
Do you refer to this, and we're looking at it today, but do you refer to this very often? Do you look back on this?
Well, for a reason I do, but it's in our bookcase, and you know, I wouldn't take anything for it.
That's okay. You don't need to share that.
Here is the letter that I wrote my mother.
All right.
After the war was over, or it's a tissue copy, and I retyped it because this is the copy that I had done for this CO.
Wow.
In tissue, and I think this was the 6th copy, but I pounded away on that manual typewriter.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So this is the actual copy that I sent her.
Wow. Captain Goodwin is your CO.
Mm-hmm.
The 1910th Ordnance Company Ammunition Aviation was activated in New Guinea under the General Order 17, 5th Air Force, dated 24 January 1943. Looking back at this and examining this information, I'm curious. Have you been to the World War II Monument?
Oh, yes.
Memorial? You did go to World War II?
Yeah, and I'm going again.
You're going on the honor flight in September?
Yeah, I was supposed to have gone on the last one, but I was taken sick and had to cancel 2 days before it left.
You know, it's interesting regarding both the experience you had when you returned, but also the actual construction of the World War II memorial. It wasn't really begun until 2000, completed I think in 2004.
That's when I saw it.
When it was completed, when
Yes.
it's opening. Yet we had Korea, and we have a Korean memorial. We were engaged in Vietnam. We have a Vietnam memorial, both of which were constructed in advance to the World War II memorial. Yet the World War II memorial, you being part of the greatest generation, didn't worry about it until almost an afterthought. Mm-hmm. Why?
I don't have any idea. Our son and his wife, we were actually supposed to go about 2 weeks early, but it wasn't finished. Mm-hmm. So we changed our plans, and we were one of the first to visit it when it did open. Our son and his wife made hotel reservations, everything. We drove up. We spent 2 days in Washington and was going to spend the 3rd day, but it started raining, and so we come home.
Well, you know, it is interesting that World War II veterans have generally just taken all of this in stride. Is that because something about either the generation or the war? What's your thought?
It's hard to say.
You'd been through the Depression.
Yeah.
How tough was the Depression for you when you were growing up?
You didn't get a lot of candy or those kind of things. You appreciated what you did get. I know my father was out of work one time during the Depression, and money was tight, so we didn't get a lot of luxuries, the 3 children. I have had a brother and a sister. Both of them have passed away.
And your brother was in the Seabees, Navy Seabees?
Yeah, Navy Seabees, and he went to the Pacific the same as I did.
Now, I'm just intrigued, though, because so much of World War II, and of course, is being now recalled and recovered. Do you think that this is an experience that has meaning to even this generation, the generation now in Washington?
I think so, because they continue to advertise it with trips to the monument. It's a beautiful monument. It's divided in that the European War is on one side and the
Pacific
is on the other side. They're all surrounded there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have some pictures of it while we were there, shortly after it opened.
All right, let's talk back to you and when you arrived home following the war. You went to work. How old were you at this point? You're 20...
Almost
22. You're 20, 18, 21. Girlfriends?
Girlfriend got married while I was gone.
Did you get a Dear John letter?
No.
You just found out when you returned
My
home?
sister-in-law, who knew her, wrote and told me about it. And I saw her shortly after I got home. And I've seen her one time since we've been in Carteret County.
Does she live here?
Her and her husband owned a cottage on the beach. They may still own it, as far as I know.
All right, what about you and your wife? When did you meet her?
I met her on Saturday night after I discharged on Friday. And
how did you meet her?
How did I meet her? I bumped into my brother's brother-in-law, and he says, "Come on and go to a party with me." So I went back to Fayetteville, came back to Dunn, and he and I went to a party, and she came to that party, but we didn't start dating for a couple of months after that. And we started dating, and it finally, we landed up and got married.
The experience. Did you ever tell her much about your experiences in the war?
No.
How about
not a great deal.
How about your children?
My children know I was in it. I've never sat and talked to them like I'm talking to you.
How come?
How come? Well, they came along about a year after we got married, a little over a year. Our son was born, and then our daughter was born, and we just never have gotten around to talking about it.
Since your visit to the World War II Memorial and, of course, all the conversations, have you spoken to them since? Did you talk to them about it?
A little bit, but not in detail like we have talked here this morning.
How about your wife?
Same thing.
Her name is, by the way?
Gloria. Our daughter named Gloria. Right. The wife's name is Nora. Nora.
Mm-hmm. And Nora, does she ask you questions about it ever?
Once in a while, she'll ask about some particular thing that comes up. She's seen this. She was here when I put it together, and there's not a lot to talk about. You go over there, you crawl in some holes, and in fact, one night after we got to Okinawa, the red alert come on, and you normally get up, got your gas mask and your helmet. Mm-hmm. Well, back in the other islands, you'd had about 30 minutes before the planes had come in. So I was sitting there, and some of them said, "Roy, so you bet you get your gas mask and helmet." I said, "I will." Well, about that time, they started dropping bombs, and I went off down the hill and backed right up in it. I never did get my gas mask and helmet that night, but it taught me a lesson to, when the red alert come on, go get it right then.
How often did you have these experiences?
I don't have any idea how many. We had us a hole. We go crawl in with that helmet and that gas mask. They never use gas, fortunately.
Right.
But it was a standard piece of equipment that when the red alert came on, get it.
Mm-hmm. Roy, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about it.
It's a great story. Thank you, sir.
You've been listening to The War Files, a selection of interviews honoring our warriors of the greatest generation, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. The War Files is a TalkStation presentation.